I know you guys want to know what Bitcoin is going to be doing now that we have this officially done. The Bitcoin reserve is officially happening, and how can tariffs affect the structure? And of course, with all this happening a day before, it's currently late at night, the day before the crypto summit in the White House, right? So what can we be looking forward to? Well, first of all, super excited to say that, the executive order for the strategic Bitcoin reserve in the US is officially signed. It is going to be happening. And we also have Texas, and I think it's what other state was it? New Hampshire is also making a lot of progress with their Bitcoin reserve as well. So now that we have this cooking and we have the price holding steady, which is a surprise to a lot of people, but really there's not a whole lot of information that was published just yet. So this great news was underwhelming for a lot of traders and investors. So that's probably why we're seeing a lot of this weakness in the price right now. But here we go. We're gonna jump right into it, right? Because previously we were creating a really strong floor with Bitcoin within this sideways movement channel, and then we had a lot of terror fears for the most part that broke this structure to the downside, and then perfectly, as we as I saw the structure break well before we came down into this red area. I think it was during the live stream. I created this area right here as a strong support, and I said it's a very good idea. We can see it max out because we've seen these fib supportive areas maxing out every single time here. It maxed out there, and it maxed out here many times in the past as well. So I said it's very likely, and also this will give it an opportunity to fill in that CME gap, which we pretty much filled it. And now we've been holding this rally, this new structure, this reversal structure quite well. It's holding quite strongly. So we started pumping higher. I gave you guys some imbalance areas and another fib extension to the upside as potential resistance. We maxed out that area as well. We came back down to support, but more tariff news ruined it. Instead, we came back down and said if this support fails, next support, even though it seems a little bit extreme and a lot of people are getting hyped up on Bitcoin, we have, because of course at this time, this is when that Federal Reserve announcement came out that Trump is actually still focused on it, and we had a big pump, and then it failed, and I said, well, there's an imbalance here. Also, retesting this retracement area is very possible. We ended up testing the imbalance and maxing out the retracement area as well. Ever since then, we started moving up higher. We broke past this next retracement area, passing the imbalance quite strongly, and then maxing out up here. Since then, of course, that's where the RSI broke over that 70 mark on the RSI. So then selling pressure began. We started coming back down. We found support at the 120 moving average, but instead I drew this blue retracement area for this entire move as a potential of how far down we could go, with the possibility of breaking the retracement area back into this imbalance right here. So now that we have what seems to be a triangle pattern forming on a very much strongly discounted area, the day before the crypto summit event, right? So what can we be really looking forward to, right? So besides the structure itself, right, we have expectations that there's going to be a lot more information about the reserve being released, information on potential zero long-term Bitcoin or just overall crypto. I think I'm not sure if it's just for Bitcoin or the overall specific kind of cryptos. I'm not sure, but potential long-term 0% taxes on that. And you know what? Now that I think about it, this actually gives the U.S. government a good backing, because if they plan to accumulate Bitcoin and hold on to it for a very long time, when it's time to sell, if this 0% tax does take into play and doesn't get taken away in the future, then it will give them a lot more money where they can eventually take a lot of profit out of it far into the future and start paying down the U.S. debt with that. So I think that's a really, really good strategy. We'll see if that actually happens. And then a lot of other news where I think tomorrow's going to be a very good day. But if expectations are too high, hopefully it doesn't ruin the whatever actual positive nature it's going to create. But now, since we found resistance, I was able to draw this little, we have a support line, and now we have a descending resistance. creating a triangle pattern in these discounted, very strongly discounted ranges in Bitcoin. And we continue to have tariff news. There's a little bit of a tariff war kind of working its way up, right? So that's the only negative factor we have, besides questions on whatever the inflation data is going to be in the future, more jobless claims, and how the Federal Reserve is going to publicly react towards it within the next meeting. And I believe that's after next week. So now that we have this structure into play, and we found support perfectly in this imbalance area, we found support. We pushed up higher. Unfortunately, the hourly candle didn't close in it. Instead, we have just a wick within it. So it's very possible we can retest this area before coming up higher. But if we do see any more sell-off throughout tonight and tomorrow before the summit, I don't believe we're going to break below this imbalance gap or even break below the support line down here, because this is right now acting as a very strong area for Bitcoin to trade in and hold it, because also the RSI is very much discounted, and now we recovered from that a little bit. So now I believe a lot of FOMO and hype can be building up. So now what I'm personally looking for is tomorrow, as long as we stay below like 88,000, we show a little bit of weakness during market hours, I will be adding more to BitU, because these structures we have higher lows forming within a very deep discounted structure. So I don't really see why it won't be that reasonable to wait out too long and try to see if we can get a lower price, because at this point it's kind of fading away the possibility of seeing a lower price. So going forward, we have strong support in this area. If this fails, I will not be surprised if we come back down and try to retest this bottom range of the red supportive area. But I will be adding, because this, in my opinion, it's much more likely that the price will go higher and try to retest this 1 week liquidity at 95K, and then just start to trade and maybe hold onto this next area up here in green, which will be confirming a new structure. If we can start trading within this area and break past this previous swing high, which is represented by the 1 week liquidity at 95K, then it's very likely that if we can pass this, we'll start working on a new structure where we can see it come up all the way up to here. And then during this time, we can try to see any potential supports for the price to retrace back to, and then start working up higher. If we do come into this area, I'm going to be very confident and pretty much convinced that the low is in, and we are just fluctuating and trying to make our way higher at that point. If we can't reach this area and instead we keep trading this area and don't break out to the upside, then I do believe, again, we can very much easily retest not just the low 80s, but the high 70s once again. Again, I'm leaning more towards the upside due to, again, we've seen triangle patterns in the past form with Bitcoin, and usually it breaks up to the outside. The last few times we've seen triangle patterns, it ends up actually breaking to the downside. But due to the discounted nature and how I personally believe these discount levels are not sustainable long term, due to more Bitcoin buying in the background, besides retail being negative towards it, at least in the short term, it's very much likely we can just maybe trade down a little bit lower. It looks like volume is going to keep pushing down a little bit more, find support, and then start working our way higher. At this point, it's a big question mark, and it's very important to also be patient during the summit, because if the summit for some reason is just underwhelming, or anything causes some sell-off, then we have an opportunity to accumulate if that were to happen. But as of right now, we have strong support, and this will be the next area to look at for a potential resistance if we break up to the upside. Regardless, though, if we break down, it would not last very long, and we can be recovering from it and working our way up very, very quickly. So both pathways are very bullish. It's just that one delays the bullishness a little bit more, and of course that's going to provide a really, really good deep value opportunity to open up trades or add to an existing trade. So that's what I'm going to be keeping an eye on tomorrow during market hours, to see if I can add more at these discounted levels before a potential rally happens. And of course, even if a rally does happen, if it's positive, but it's not enough to completely change the structure by breaking up into this area, then we can easily see that, you know, if we can't hold this area long enough uh, to confirm a change of structure, then we can easily see it come down and try to find support at whatever imbalance this will potentially start making. But if we do break past this swing high right here, again, it opens the pathway for a new structure to form, a bullish structure that will basically confirm this area to be completely done, and we're gonna start moving up higher. We're not gonna be retesting those lows anymore. So I'm very excited to see what's gonna happen tomorrow. And we're gonna just keep an eye on Bitcoin and add more discounted levels until we finally pump up higher. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are very excited for Bitcoin as we progress through March and through 2025. I think it's gonna be very, very exciting. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.